society in this session. And of course, we have most important of all, we have you amongst us as audience, and then you would be putting all the panel to the task after they have presented their talks, and I have asked some of the questions to the panelists. So first of all, I would like to invite my panelists here on the stage with me. Firstly, Raza Saab from Ministry of IT. Please join us on the stage. Mr. Rehman from Pakistan Foundation Fighting Blindness. Sir, please join us on the stage as well. My apologies, Mr. Abdullah Yusuf from Pakistan Foundation Fighting Blindness. He is the chairman of the organization. And then we have Naveed from Internet Society. Naveed, he will join us. Okay, so we'd have Naveed with us. We'd have a representative from Tawk. And we also have a telco, Mr. Abdullah from Telenor. Do we have? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So we'll start the proceedings formally. Firstly, we'll have a case study session. And the case study that we'll be presenting here is the fighting blindness. And the case study would be presented for the from the PFFB side, and Ms. Rabail Pirzada would be giving the presentation. She has very impressive profile. When I got introduced to her a couple of years back, she was posed and she was called a lioness. She has affiliation with Lions Club. She has books and dramas, books written about her, dramas made on her life. So really, this brief introduction is not very appropriate to cover all of her achievements. I would just say that she represents Pakistan Foundation Fighting Blindness, and she would be talking about mainly that how PFFB fights blindness, how they are working from and since when they are taking up this cause, and most important of all, how digital they include and incorporate digital technology and accessibility for fighting blindness and to incorporate and to facilitate the lives of persons with disabilities. So, Ms. Rabail, over to you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank to all of you on the behalf of Pakistan Foundation Fighting Blindness. It's really great opportunities for us that we will represent PFFB vision. Actually, PFFB was a dream of some visionary people which came into life in 1988 by the founder chairman, Mr. Zahir Khalid, a chartered accountant, and the late Dr. Salma Makbul, a medical practitioner, and the late Ma'am Saima Amal. The purpose of this organization to help visually deprived and make them successful citizens of the society. In 1990, we have registered International Retina Our first project was medical research project. In this project, we are trying to aware that why that blindness, what is blindness and how it's occurred for us. In 1992, we have started a new project that's name is Audio World Program. It was a great project and a huge project. They are facilitated and we are subscriber more than 30,000 visually impaired person in all over the country. In this project, we have two type of library. First is academic library, and we have lots of books till 5th and masters. And the second library is players lessons. In the time to time, first we are recorded audio cassettes, but nowadays we are using digital accessibilities and new technologies, and we are using CDs, MP3s, online libraries, and different assistive aids. Actually, in our country, special people are still abandoned from the players and the basic needs of life just because they are unable to contribute the finances, resources of the family. Parents and family also feel reluctant to contribute their future. They feel ashamed to introduce them in front of others. Due to this behavior, children suffer a lot. They become a victim inferiority complex. PFAB trying to eradicate that. PFAB is addressing needs of visually impaired community with different assistive and modern technologies. In 2006, we have started a new project that's name is IT project. We have also ebook library. In this library, we have covered that students, they are trying to do CSS, LLB, and different doctorates. We have also provide assistive aid all of the countries like wristwatches, white chains, and the different CDs, apps, and other things. We have an also online library. Actually, we want to explain that nowadays, modern accessibilities, digital accessibilities is a backbone of any successful organization and a successful person and a successful company. We have started a new startup in these IT centers. We have benefited more than 25,000 subscribers all over the country. We have established more than 17 IT centers all over the countries. In these centers, we are trying to groom visually impaired persons with different assistive technologies, assistives. Our other project is personality grooming. Basically, personality grooming is mandatory both blind and sighted person. The special ingredients are personal hygiene, dressing technique, table manners, confidence boost, and etc. We have also a WhatsApp group, and that group we are trying to raise awareness all over the world, which thing is going on and what is new latest available technologies here. We are using lots of ebook library, and we have also the registered bookshare library. In this IT project, we are aware to visually impaired person the different apps like smart apps, Google apps, tap to see, and many volunteers like Be My Eyes and these everything. Now we have started a new project that is called Income Generation Project. In our country, we are trying to produce those people, they are uneducated or they are unemployed. On that project, they are trying to raise their income. In this project, there are three types of category we have. First is manufacturing, then how visually impaired can make these things, making. And the second thing is presentation and packing, you can say. And the third thing is marketing. Three categories are stand on art and craft project. We also called it's art and craft project, income generation project, fashion art project, in which we are trying to groom visually impaired person like different skills like kusa making, rug making, shoemaking, stationery, dress designing, fashion art, that all kind of thing. Because our vision is that nothing is impossible in this world. Because impossible says that I am possible. That is the main purpose of PFFB. Cooking. Cooking is a main important things to every person. That everyone's thinking that visually impaired person can't do anything because they are visually impaired. No, it's not right. Nowadays, are lots of visually challenged person doing cooking, and they are established their cooking, their restaurants, and their home. We have lots of success stories due to our projects. They are represented to PFFB in all over the country. We have lots of success stories like CSS officers, they are LLB, doctors, and many others areas. It would be just possible due to digital accessibility, because we can do each and everything with new modern technology. If I cannot see, then how I can know that what is the color and the what is I want to go? But there are lots of apps like that to see, which help us in art and craft project, that there is red color and this is one copy and this is one kusa and this is all over the thing. If we are not using modern accessibilities, then we were totally blind. But nowadays, in the modern time, digital accessibilities make them sight. Now we can see, and now we can live as a respectable citizen due to modern accessibility. Now we have established ebook club. We have established lots of. We have tried to creative lots of raising awareness program, different platforms like RP, like Parkin, importance of visually impaired and visually impaired challenges, and we are alhamdulillah covered all over the thing. After establishing ebook library, we have started a new channel in YouTube. That's name is PFFB Channel Pakistan. In this channel, we have tried to highlight visually impaired issues, our kitchen, our personality grooming, our success stories, and lots of their things are there. Actually, organization will successful when the lots of people have sincerity with the organization, and we have lots of modern technologies. So we have created PFFB Club. In these clubs, lots of volunteers help us, and they make them successful, make them our project successful. That was our journey, and we are trying to that our motto is Zindagi bahut khoobsurat hai, and it would be more beautiful when we spread happiness around the people, and if we spend for mankind. So our journey complete toward to its modern accessibilities and the digital accessibilities. Thank you. If you have any kind of question, so you can ask it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rabail Pirzada. That was really an impressive kind of a case study. And what I, as a moderator of this session, am happy about is that you were really precise and concise, and you were really in time. So you had about 10 minutes, and you took really about 9 or so minutes. So thank you very much for that. We are really grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about the digital accessibility and making it really impact in the lives of persons with disabilities, it has two parts. One part is the practical part that just Mr. Rabail Pirzada talked about, that how persons with disabilities or with a particular disabilities, their life is being changed or modified through the use of these technologies. The other part is, and the core lies with this part, is the policy. And this comes first. I presented and I really sort of innovated at the start of this session that we talked about the policy in the inaugural session. So I thought that we should have a case study first, and then we should start and go back to the beginnings and really talk about the policy issue. So we have amongst us the representation from Ministry of IT, Mr. Raza. Here is the taking care of the Director IT's task, and he will speak about the Digital Pakistan policy. And I remember that one of our best friend, I call him, that he raised a very pertinent question that yes, we have this policy, Digital Pakistan policy on the table now. It's approved by the cabinet. There is a task force by the Prime Minister, by the top level authorities, delegated the task to draw some indicators and some action plan to implement this policy. My question again here is that, Raza Sahab, could you please tell us something about that, how this journey was started? Person with disabilities, you decided to incorporate the inputs of person with disabilities in the policy. And this really, I appreciate this gesture that from the start you took on board the person with disabilities and their representative organizations. So how was the process? How did you find it? And now moving forward, could you tell us about your plans, that how you plan to incorporate those suggestions, and how do you plan to take a person with disabilities on board as we move forward? So I would request you to please enlighten us something about some short-term measures, some mid-term measures, and some long-term measures as well. Thank you very much.
I do have mic. Thank you. Thank you, Shabbir Sahab, for the introduction and giving the opportunity to Ministry of IT and Telecom, especially elaborating here what we are doing. And before me, Member Telecom try to elaborate what are the efforts are currently being made by the ministry, and especially that inclusive part, so that every voice is counted in. That is the major concern. Going back to the Digital Pakistan policy, which was approved in 2018, a multi-stakeholder approach was opted for that. When we talk about multi-stakeholder approach, especially throughout the globe, this trend has, in terms of policy making, what I would say, this trend has, given new doors open for the governments, for other stakeholders to work together and to bring something on the table, which is for the benefit of everyone. This is the very important part. As we have mentioned, while we were drafting this policy, everyone was kind of invited there. And especially for the persons with disabilities, a whole chapter was drafted by a team under the leadership of Mr. Shabbir, who was there in the session. And those recommendations were taken into consideration and were also incorporated in the final version. One thing which is important, that today, the world we are living in, especially, our time span is very short, and government do not work in a very small time span. There is, what I think, a space is created. Whatever we are doing, whether that is being projected or not, that is the question. That is the one part. But how we are doing, and how through continuous effort, with your support, with the support of PWD organization, with the support of everyone, we are able to, revisit what we have done, and we can bring something more on the table. This is the challenging task. Throughout the globe, when we talk about digitization, this is not the overnight, task. Whether you are dealing with the persons with disabilities, whether you are talking about the policies about telecom, President Iftikhar is sitting here. He's also heading sub-task force for the telecom, and we are closely working for the main task force, Prime Minister's task force on IT and telecom. The main concern is that how feedback of everyone is incorporated there. We are trying that. You have mentioned the short-term, long-term, and medium-term goals specifically. I do not remember them. You can download the policies, Pakistan Digital Policy, from Ministry of IT official website. That is mit.gov.pk. You can go through them. How to pursue them is the question. And this is the one task which is currently being mandated to Prime Minister's task force on IT and telecom. That whatever has been done and whatever needed to be done, that a priority has been set for all this, for all this sketch, for all this scenario. and government need to take that ahead. So I think that answers the questions you asked. I hope that answers my question.
Thank you very much, Raza Saab. Now, first of all, I really have to thank Mr. Abdullah Yusuf Saab. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for being with us. And particularly, he is due and owed our thanks because he has a medical appointment and he is overdue his time, and still he is with us. So I really appreciate his presence here with us. So just before you leave, sir, before you leave, just one question that you are heading an organization which is working for the last 20, 30 years or so for persons with visual impairment. What sort of difficulties do you feel in motivating or in promoting the cause of person with disabilities, both in practical and policy domains?
Thank you. It is certainly a pleasure for me to be here today with your program. And this IT business is the future of the world. And that is what I think we all have to get on board. And this will definitely help facilitate whatever actions that we have to be taking. Now, as far as PFFB is concerned, I happen to chair our NGO. Here we are basically trying to help out the blind people all over the country. I feel that the first step is to see what we can do to educate them. Then we have to also train them so that they become capable to actually go for some jobs. And then we have to also facilitate and help them to find the jobs. And then, of course, they continue in their lifespan. And this is something that, mashallah, we have actually by and large managed to actually help out, facilitate. And you've heard Rabail's detailed presentation on the PFFB status. And we are all the time trying to expand our role as far as possible to reach out to people, because if we look at the overall situation of the country, unfortunately, there is a very large number. And we have to see whatever can be done to help them, to facilitate them. And that is something which we are actually trying to do. So these are those kind of few words that I have to add. But otherwise, you are...
Yes.
Sorry, it's finished. So anyway, thank you very much for that.
Sir, thank you.
And I will take leave also. I'm sorry, I have to actually go. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for joining us this afternoon, this morning, and spending a lot of time with us. I really am obliged, and I really appreciate your company. I really enjoyed that, and I enjoyed your comments. Thank you once again for being with us. We'll continue with our discussion, and now I come to Internet Society, and Naveed Haq from Internet Society is with us, and he is the main force, should I say, driving our accessibility and digital accessibility cause and promoting this in the corridors of, should I say, or should I use the word of powers in Ministry of IT, in PTA, and in Internet Society as well. Naveed, Raza talked about multi-stakeholder model, and you as a representative of Internet Society also follows the multi-stakeholder model. So could you share some experience from Internet Society, Asia Pacific region, or in the global, that how Internet Society is inculcating digital accessibility for particularly person with disabilities, and what sort of projects are there running on the global platform? Regional platform will be hearing in the next panel. So can you tell us something about the global initiatives?
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, Shabbir. I hope you can hear me. Looks like a robot is speaking. I think I'll change the microphone. I'll change my seat as well because I don't want my beautiful head to reflect the lights. Back to you. Better. All right. So thank you, Shabbir. Of course, it's a pleasure to arrange and organize this important forum. Thank you very much, all of you, especially the friends from Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Afghanistan. I remember I used to discuss with Sagarika that one day you will come to Islamabad because I've been coming to Colombo and Kathmandu so many times. So, I think on the global side, this subject of including persons with disabilities into the technological ecosystem, there have been many solid examples. I would say the Western world took the lead as they usually do. That's why you will see that organizations like W3C, the World Wide Web Consortium, that is the organization which is responsible to develop the standards for websites. They are also based on the west side of the world. Then you see organizations like ICT Accessibility, which is an US-based organization, which are doing, I think, work on technology since 20 years and how persons with disabilities can be part of it. So on that side of the table of the world, I would say, Shabbir, there have been a lot of efforts which have been done. Those countries follow a simple principle of universal design, which I think is pretty much missing in Asia Pacific. We people tend to develop something and then we would like to update that thing, and the process continues as we know that there are new consumers and there are no new users coming in. However, on the contrary, those countries usually follow this universal design principle. So once they are developing something from the scratch, they take care of all the universal rules and principles so that anyone who wants to access that service or technology can access it, despite the disability or despite what user group it comes into. So that's one of the key difference. From Asia, I can quote example of Australia. I think that's a very significant example on how Australia took some initiatives inside their legislation and policy framework, making sure that the websites, especially the government websites, when they are developed, they fully comply the W3C standards for the person with disabilities. Similarly, the countries like Japan and Korea also follow the same principles and rules. We at the Internet Society, of course, as a global organization, we have been partnering with W3C. We have been partnering with a number of countries. And especially now in Asia Pacific, since last 3 years, we are giving a special attention to this subject. And I was not surprised when we were working in countries like Pakistan, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, that there is a lot of opportunity. There is a lot of opportunity to tell the community at large, the policymakers, the operators, that these 13 or 12% of the population are actually your users. So treat them as commercial users, because if you develop an application and 12% of your population is not able to use that application, that means that the 12% of the business segment you are already missing. So this is not the charity as we've been saying in the morning. This is actually a business. And if you come up with solutions and applications, there are users, a huge number of users. There are only 600 million persons with disabilities in Asia Pacific only. So just imagine that, substantial number of people who do need to use the technology, because now, internet drives things. You order your taxi through internet, you do your financial transactions, you can even lose your job because of internet. Lately, if you see that two Indian cricketers were banned because something came up on social media, and then the board has to take the decision. So this is a critical mass. This is a critical, technological platform that everyone has to have an access. And it's not only the access, it has to be an open access and unrestricted access. So anyone can innovate. As we say, internet is a permissionless innovation platform. So globally, Shabbir bhai, there have been, as I said, some countries, a lot of things have been done. In terms of Pakistan, I think from my experience, there's a lot of opportunity and there's a lot of willingness. I can recall what we started back in 2015, Shabbir bhai, if you remember. We did a workshop in Marriott in December. We called upon some stakeholders, including the ministry and PTA, and to start a discussion. That forum actually led us to do some workshops all across Pakistan. So we went to Peshawar, Lahore, Quetta, Karachi, and what we did was we brought the person with disabilities, because if you won't bring the person with disabilities, who are the users, to the table to speak and tell, people like us who tend to be experts cannot solve the problem. So it has to be the users, the end users, the persons with disabilities, to come on the stage and tell us. So that's what we did. We brought in the developers and the persons with disabilities. We host a dialogue among each other, so to assess what is the situation. And 90% of the developers who were part of these workshops had no idea of those very simple steps that they can follow in their coding techniques to make their websites or their mobile application accessible for persons with disabilities. In fact, some of them said that we wish we had this understanding or awareness that we can easily code these things for these people as well. So that was very helpful. And then the next step was Pakistan Mobile App Award, where we were able to give prizes to the developers who developed applications only for persons with disabilities. One of that application, by the way, was taken by the Orient. And you might have seen those advertisements with Syed telling about the smart Orient remote air condition. So that was that application, which was part of the Pakistan Mobile Award. And then the last step was, of course, inclusion of that chapter into the Pakistan digital policy. And of course, we are not stopping now. I think now with Parvez Saab, Mudassir Saab, and many of you here, we now have this huge opportunity to start implementation of that policy measures and take actions which can actually bring the fruits of internet and technology to the person with disabilities in Pakistan. And we from the Internet Society, of course, would love to, support, assist, put our resources as much as we can to see that Pakistan is a more inclusive society as far as internet and telecommunication services are concerned. So with that, back to you, Shabbir bhai.
Thank you, Naveed bhai. Thank you very much for your insight and for a very wonderful comparison of global, regional, and then the environment that we face in Pakistan, and also sharing that nice story that how we started this journey and where are we and where we want to go. What I want to highlight here is that the Internet Society in itself has a chapter particularly for persons with disabilities. So now we are in the process as Internet Society, and it was a chapter back, it was started back in, I guess, 2003 or 4, something like that. And it was the only chapter, because Internet Society's chapter are geographic based, and it was only non-geographic chapter. It was only global chapter where the membership had like this global participation. Now Internet Society has started different initiatives on the global issues such as IoTs and rural development, etc., etc. So we are trying that this chapter should be converted into the special interest group, and this should be run in the more modern line. So I hope so that, and the case is there with the ISOC Global. I have heard good things from their side. So I hope that you would be championing this cause at the Internet Society Global level as well. When Naveed was talking about the journey that we started in Pakistan, and the journey that was started back in 2015, and the 16 and 17 were the landmark years. In one, we had this mobile app award, these regional or city-based awareness workshops, and in 17, we were really engaged in the IT policy and all that stuff. In all that, one of the sectors that have been very engaging with us was the telecom sector. And Telenor is here with us on the table. Telenor, I remember, was one of the partners in Mobile App Award as well. It has been running wonderful programs. First, it was called Khudar Pakistan, then Open Pakistan, and they have been running all these programs under CSR projects and on the community level as well. Mr. Abdullah is sitting with us. He will be here to answer the questions. But before I invite the Telenor's speaker for the presentation, I would like to invite Mr. Tahir Ali from Pakistan Foundation Fighting Blindness to replace their chairman. So we know that Abdullah Saab has to left for his medical appointment, but I would like to invite Tahir Ali to replace him and to face the audience when we return to the audience. So without any further ado, I would like to now call upon Ms. Habiba from Telenor to tell us some of the projects that they have been running here in Pakistan related to person with disabilities. I know you have a lot of projects under the CSR flagship project, but what we really want to hear from you is that how your projects have been helping persons with disabilities under your projects.
Assalamu alaikum. I hope you don't use this mic instead of standing here. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I am Habiba Sardar, working as Assistant Manager Sustainability in Telenor, Pakistan. Today, I'll be touching upon two topics. One, what are the best practices of Telenor, Pakistan? And B, digital accessibility. There are around 30 million people with disabilities in Pakistan, which is around 15% of the total population. And I think it's a huge number. And people with disabilities are not even considered as a potential member of the workforce. And it is extremely marginalized segment of our society. And I remember there were times when it was considered as a taboo and people did not even want to talk about it. But then there were times when people actually started talking about it. And if we talk about SDG number 10 and SDG number 8, it clearly talks about reducing inequalities and giving equal opportunity. So being an equal opportunity provider company, we do believe in the fact that the equal opportunity should also be provided to the people with disabilities. And we started our program since inception of Telenor Pakistan. Initially, we started Khudar Pakistan, which was about creating awareness and advocacy. And then later on, we started Open Mind Program Pakistan, which is specifically designed for the people with disabilities. We at Telenor Pakistan not only talk, but we walk the talk. And we do take pride in the fact that we are the first ones among the entire industry and corporate sector who actually took up the disability as a strategic priority area. So I'll talk a little bit about Open Mind Pakistan program, which is, I earlier mentioned that it is specifically designed for the people with disabilities. So in this program, people apply, and it's a 1-year program. And then later, after 1-year program, they are being given opportunity as a permanent position, but it depends on the availability, of course. But I would like to mention that we don't give position on the basis of their disability, but on the basis of their ability and the skill set that they have. And in this program has a 60% success rate, which is phenomenal, which means that 2 out of 3 actually gets the position either in Telenor, Pakistan, and if not in Telenor, then they get the opportunity in like-minded organizations outside Telenor, Pakistan. So this was the Open Mind program. And now currently we are working on a digital job portal, and where we are coordinating with like-minded organizations, government, public and private sector. This is going to be an exclusive job portal for people with disabilities, where like-minded organizations can actually post their positions, and that for the people with disabilities. And then they can apply and they can create their own profile. And this is going to be a platform where they can attend and know about different seminars and different international, you can say, workshops and everything. So if there are any like-minded organizations sitting here and would like to collaborate with us for this job portal, you are more than welcome for that. And at the end, I would like to show you a small video on our Open Mind program, which will give you an idea how it actually works. So can you please play the video? Can we have more volume, please, if possible?
And directly General of Special Education, Government of Pakistan in 2000. Aims at training development.
If you could replay that, because there was no voice, there's no point.
I'm sorry, there is some technical issue with the voice. You can use 2 mics.
Access to basic human rights is the true manifestation of empowering societies. Open Mind Pakistan is our journey to raise awareness, enable access, and promote inclusion. It was introduced to integrate persons with disabilities into the mainstream through advocacy by providing trainings and assistive technology. Launched in collaboration with Special Talent Exchange Program and Directorate General of Special Education, Government of Pakistan in 2013. Open Mind aims and trains to develop persons with disabilities and delivers this with accessible building, inclusive advertisement and career page, specialized interviews, and disability orientations to prospective managers. Keeping in view the unique needs of persons with disabilities, a batch of 16 candidates, 2 candidates per division, are selected to undertake a 3-month comprehensive training module, which includes IT skills, project management, corporate communication, independent living, and on-job coaching. The training is competitive, and candidates are assessed and evaluated throughout the training. 1 candidate per division is further awarded a 1-year regular contract at the respective divisions. Others are referred to Open Minds Network as top talent. The program aims to overcome physical and attitudinal barriers that people with disabilities have to face in their daily lives. Diversity and inclusion are key elements of our culture.
At the end, I would also like to mention about our building accessibility, that the entire building is accessible from entrance till exit. We make sure that each and every part of our building is accessible. And we run accessibility audits every year, and we try our best that it is actually accessible. And at the end, I would like to thank the Internet Society for giving us opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your very enlightening, I'm sorry, very enlightening talk and very useful presentation, plus this very nice video. Ladies and gentlemen, we have heard the ministry, we have heard the PFFD, we have also heard the telcos. One very interesting case study that I also observed when I was in Moscow is here in Pakistan, and it's really a new startup, but it is very useful for person with disabilities. That project is being run by Talk, and their representative, Ms. Sheena, is with us. I would ask her that she should, in her own words, as we say in Urdu, Kalame Shair Basubane Shair. So she should tell us that what all this Talk and this story is about, how they are facilitating the persons with hard of hearing or hearing impaired to communicate with the society using technology.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I'm Shima Ahmed, and I want to start with a question here. That how many people here are deaf in this? Can raise their hands? No one? Okay. So basically, according to research, about 15% of Pakistan, there people are living with disability, where about 9 million people are living with our deaf community. So the biggest problem in Pakistan is that deaf community have this communication barrier. And my team members, right now they're in Karachi, and I'm one of the co-founders. So Vamik Hassan is the first deaf person in Pakistan who did his computer engineering from New York. And Talk started with a story of Vamik Hassan's story, basically, that when he was in Beacon House, he was in 5th grade. So teachers said that he cannot promote in the next grade because he cannot hear and he is a slow learner. So the problem wasn't with the kid. The problem was that the kid was very difficult for him to understand or hear what the teacher or during the lectures. So his parents, instead of repeating the same class, what they did was they took him to New York, and there he had 24/7. He had a sign language interpreter. When he came back to Pakistan, he realized that there is a need to bridge the communication gap for deaf community, and that's how we started with our app. It's called Talk. So we're total 4 co-founders. I'm Shima Ahmed, Ali Shabbar, Vamik, and Abdul Qadir. And the beauty of our Our startup it's been 7 months, and the beauty of our startup is that it's basically we promote inclusion. Few of them are visually impaired, few of them are. I worked as a researcher on disability, and how the Deaf Talk basically it's an app. It's basically, in short words, it's a career app for deaf community. So what we do is that we're working instead of sign language interpreters. What we do is that it's more accessible for people to communicate on an app. So it's called Deaf Talk, which we're working on currently. We're working on our app, and we have been right now. What we're using is video portals through Facebook, video Skype, and WhatsApp video. And we have about 722 users right now. And till now, we have served 4,774 hours, which is a record for the last 7 months. And not only from metropolitan cities, but we have subscribers from other rural areas. But our biggest challenge right now is that only 95 certified sign language interpreters are in Pakistan. So what we're doing is that we're conducting different training sessions in Pakistan where we hire sign language interpreters, and so that we can increase the number and which can work for our app, and so that we can serve not only people in metropolitan cities but also in rural areas of Pakistan. So our aim is to bridge the communication gap in terms of employment, health, and education, and where they can work, because it's a very big problem for them that if, like for example, if it's sign language, I'm sure a lot of people here we're oblivious of the fact what is sign language, right? So for a deaf person, it's very difficult for them to communicate. So they hesitate in going to different offices, they hesitate in going different workplaces, and they lag behind. So Deaf Talk's main aim is to bridge the communication gap, to empower them, and to make them feel included so that no one is left behind. So for more, you can always log into our website and also Deaf Talk page, where we have different training sessions, we have different courses for sign language, and anyone who's interested in learning sign language can be part of the Deaf Talk community and help us bridge the communication gap. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Hima. And I had the fortune of meeting with Ali Shabbar before I went to Moscow. And in Moscow, I really got to see this opportunity, that how this functions. So Hima, could you, for the benefit of our audience,
yes,
elaborate a bit that can you walk us the talk that how it functions from the beginning to the end? How is the process?
Okay, so
yeah.
Okay, so currently, since our app is under process, what we do is that we have interpreters. What we do is that we're using Skype. We have a Skype login, which is known as Deaf Talk. We have WhatsApp number of Deaf Talk, and then we have the Facebook video call through Deaf Talk page. So we have total about 95. We have sign language interpreters. What we do is that you log into our page, Deaf Talk on Facebook, and you can fill the form if anyone wants an interpreter. And according to time and everything, you fill in the form, and what you do is that if you have a commitment or you have a meeting to attend, if you have any other, you specify the timings, you specify the day and timing to what you need, and the interpreter is going to be there for you. How it's going to be, for example, this is my phone. For example, if I'm a deaf person and I have to communicate with someone who doesn't know sign language, so I'm going to call the person via Facebook, Skype, or WhatsApp video call. The interpreter is going to be online through video chat, and the person I'm going to do the sign language, because the sign language interpreters we've hired, they're certified. So through sign language, they're going to communicate with the person, whether they're giving interview or admission or anything. So this is how we work for now.
Thank you very much. A follow-up question. I'm sorry, before I go to the audience, I want to make this idea a bit more clarified. So what I hear and I really like about this service, particularly your service, is that it's not, at this frame of time, it's not totally free of charge. So it's charge service, right? So your user, if I'm not wrong, And if you allow me to elaborate, your
Yes.
user buy some minutes again.
Yes, it's a subscription model, basically 500 rupees per month. Sorry, I forgot to mention. 500 rupees per month, and the limit is 150 minutes per month. And if you exceed, we charge 10 rupees per minute. So these are the charges.
So and it is instant wherever. If you are
Oh,
in
yes.
a market, if a person is in a market and
Yes.
he or she has some difficulty, he or she can just call in, through
Call and
Skype,
communicate.
WhatsApp, Facebook, and they can use the services. at their
Exactly, wherever you are. And there's so many people who have been employed in KFC. There's so many people working in different organizations just because of DevTalk, because it's easy for them to communicate now in the mainstream society.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, everyone. I would like to thank my panelists on my behalf. First of all, that they gave very elaborative presentations. Now we come to the audience. And if you have a question, please identify the speaker or the panel. So if you have some question related to PFFB, you identify Mr. Tahir Ali. If you have question related to ISOC, you identify Naveed. Question about DevTalk, you call upon Ms. Shima, and question about Telenor, you call upon Mr. Abdullah. And for question related to the IT policy, you call upon Mr. Raza. So if you have any question, please identify whom do you want to answer your question. And if you have a comment, you are more than welcome to comment as well.
I would like to add a small little comment before we proceed. So we heard from DevTalk. So I would like to mention that both Wamek and Abdul Kadir, two of the founders, were open mind graduates from the first batch. So this shows that if you cultivate something, eventually it does bear fruits, and this is a living example of that.
Thank you very much for informing us and enlightening us about the issues of persons with disabilities, PWDs. My name is Mayur Zafar. I'm part of the Internet Society Pakistan Islamabad chapter. And I thank on behalf of ISOC as well for all those who are participating here. I've got few questions or comments if you want to say. First is that we call it PWDs, persons with disabilities. Yeah, that's good. But the person with different disabilities like hearing disability or sight disabilities or some other walking mobility disability, they have got different issues. I was thinking that could we have some special interest group kind of thing within the PWD where we can address those specific, because we are trying to bracket all those special persons in one category, which probably is not right or may not do good justice for to them. So if we can have different like we have special interest group kind of things, if we can have those special groups within this PWD category where we can have different people. The other question I have is about the hearing impaired persons, about this your DevTalk thing. Person who are engaging or getting the sign language support from somebody, a third part, some person. Is there any facility or option that people may have preference that, okay, that one understands me well, so I want to have that person as an interpreter for me, and probably when you call, there'll be a new person who will be interpreting for some impaired person. So is it possible that they can have preference for a person that I want to have that person as interpreter for me? If not, it'll be good for that thing. One more thing, although I'm in ISOC, and I think I would like to say that while we are working on the special PWDs, like we have defined some goals, the sustainable development goals, we should have some kind of policies or preferential actions that we may take within ISOC, and we call them sustainable action goals for PWDs, something like that, so that we can have some more focused areas to work on within the ISOC Islamabad chapter. That's a suggestion to all here, Waqas, Adil, and Farhan, and including myself. Thank you.
Before I go to my panelist and ISOC related question, Naveed can perhaps address, and the DefTalk question, we have the person from DefTalk sitting here. Sir, your comment about persons with disabilities and categories, this needs a bit of an elaboration. And I would really like the permission of audience to take some of your more time. Disability is not with the person. Persons may have some sort of impairments. So a person would be visually impaired. He would be hard of hearing. He or she may be hearing impaired, may be physically impaired, or they may have some sort of temporary impairment. It is not necessary that they have long-term sensory impairment. It could be a temporary thing as well, just like after some accident, a person is unable to move along. He is physically impaired. Disability is caused by the barriers, by the social barriers that are placed in front of an impaired person, so that he or she cannot function effectively in the society. For instance, if you are coming from outside and you want to come to this hall, had there been no ramps and no elevators in this hall, this hall would have been inaccessible for persons with impairments who have some difficulties in walking. So disability is a social phenomena caused by the barriers that are placed in front of persons with impairments. And yes, there are specialized organizations, specialized groups working for the different persons with different impairments. As we have seen here, that PFFB is working for persons with blindness. Over to you.
Yeah, so this is again that robotic mic. Okay, yes, I totally agree to what you said. I mean, there can't be a uniform solution that can address the cross disability, of course. And having subgroups, so we have this ICT accessibility working group, and I'm happy to share that this accessibility group has around 45 to 50 volunteers, and they all come from cross disability section. So that has been very helpful to us as well to understand that what are the issues that the person with visual impairment are facing as compared to the person with hard of hearing or other disabilities. In fact, I remember we even introduced a terminology of VIP, which was visually impaired person, not the very important person. A few years back when we started our work, and it was very well taken. When we were tweeting on Twitter, people were like, "Wow, this VIP makes more sense than the traditional VIP that we have." So yes, I think this could be taken forward to Islamabad chapter as well. In terms of us as a global organizations, yes, we work on cross disability, so there is no one specific impairment that we focus on. There is a guideline that we released last year in November. It is called Digital Accessibility Guidelines. It's available on our website. So I'll, of course, invite to you to go to our website and download that guideline, which is a very comprehensive set of actions, both for the developers and also for the policymakers. And it also has some good case studies across the Asia Pacific. So that's something which might be helpful as well. And I think now I can pass on to Shima.
Sir, so to answer your question was that before, when we train the sign language interpreters, we have one official sign language, which is Pakistan Sign Language. It's a dictionary which we consult that. So we have faced few issues regarding this, that there are few are subscribers and our users, they want specific sign language interpreters. So we have that facility for them because there are times when they're comfortable, because sign language is one thing, it is slightly different area to area. For example, in rural areas, it's different. In urban areas, it's different. And it's also different in, for example, British Sign Language is different. American Sign Language is different. So we have been facing this problem, but we have solved this issue by, since we have a lot of sign language interpreters now, so we can accommodate them. And we are doing that. Thank you. That's our plan, inshallah. Thank you, sir.
Actually, you were mentioning to FTG, so with permission of Shabbir Saab, I want to add the 1.2. When we were drafting the Pakistan digital policy, and I was given task to, align the recommendations of every stakeholder to these FTGs. Apart from my exercise, even if we translate it, who's the beneficiary of FTGs? The a citizen, an illiterate person, if we consider. So even if you translate it in Urdu, that is पायदार तरक्की के अहदाफ, sustainable development goal is पायदार तरक्की के अहदाफ. Even that Urdu term is so difficult to absorb. And coming back to the points what you are referring from ISOC Islamabad chapter, this is the one thing, because I am also a member of Islamabad chapter of ISOC. What I always try to pitch is that we need to, using this technology, we need to translate things for everyone, so that at least this message is through. So what we have done in terms of policy, we have aligned every single objective with a sustainable development goal that can be reported for the indexes, but in the end, impact is not understandable. So what ISOC chapter can do is, we can work more in a more precise manner to translate things using technology. And another point, coming to that, one of the point which was raised in the tea break, we need to see around through the wall, because when we talk about government working, because policy is also part of the discussion, so that's why I want to bring this point. Government is working on the other side of the wall, and corporate side is here. And I have worked with the corporate sector like for 5 years, and then I am with the government for 5 years. We need to have better approach for everything, whether we talk about startups, like Shima has elaborated a very good concept. Telenor is working. We saw a very good presentation. Through these forums, we need to understand that a single vision, a single objective can be collaborated, derived. We all can be agreed upon with. And this is missing. This is missing with after every panel discussion, after every forum. So that's my take on that. Thank you.
With your permission, I would like to add a couple of points quickly. So SDGs, again, is a very good set of goals, but specifically talking about inclusion and people with disabilities. So they have been relatively silent, and there is a lot of criticism and a lot of discussion going on. But in terms of driving this discussion and continuing this dialogue, we don't need to be fixated with one particular set of goals. We need to seek the tools and instruments that work best. So the point that you raised, that we need to have one guiding, unanimously agreed upon document or set of guidelines. So in this case, specifically talking about inclusion and differently abled people, it's the Universal Convention on Rights of Persons with Disabilities. It's a very comprehensive document, and it talks about from social barriers and challenges to physical challenges, policy level challenges, talks extensively about employability, use of technology. And the best part is that more than half of the world has ratified it. So in terms of, under the umbrella of United Nations, so in terms of driving that dialogue and discussion with governments, with state parties, with policymakers, that could be, and I've seen it fade away in the background with the because SDGs are more, talk of the town these days. But that is one document, one very stable document and platform that we, as a very small player, have also seen that in terms of driving that discussion, those articles, they do, give you a lot of headway and guidance also.
Thank you very much, Abdullah. Thank you everyone for your comments. I do have some comments, but I'm reserving those comments for the time being. Any person from this hall can ask question, and for my visually impaired friends, you can raise hands and the mic will come to you. So if you have question, you just raise hands, and somewhere down the line, our volunteers, Farhan, Waqas, someone will bring the mic to you and you can ask questions. So anyone from the audience?
Yeah, I'm Sagarika from Sri Lanka. I have a question for Ms. Seema. So we are doing the seminar programs in Sri Lanka. So your desktop program, will it be available in Pakistan only? Or is it an international program?
So, ma'am, since what we decide, like right for now, we focus on the metropolitan cities and the urban areas of Pakistan. Can you guys hear me? Okay. So, but we plan to expand our program across our Asia also, because we believe that we've been getting applications from Sri Lanka, we've been getting applications from across the world. But the problem is that we don't have enough sign language interpreters to cater that problem. So right now it's in the process. We do plan to, but after we achieve that we have enough sign language interpreters that can we can provide them across Pakistan.
Yeah. How about doing a collaborative program? So if you need to sign language interpreters from our region, say for example Sri Lanka or Nepal, so we could do the collaborative
Definitely,
session?
definitely. I'll meet you. Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you, Sagarika. And this is what we are looking for, that we are looking for replication and we are looking for collaboration. Thank you for highlighting this. And thank you, Shima, for welcoming the initiative. So I suppose that you would be cooperating amongst yourselves. So the discussions would not stop here. Thank you. Any other question?
My name is Professor Dr. Raza Amir Hanif. Before I put any question, I would like to say one key point. I have attended so many workshops, seminars, symposiums, but very proudly, I would like to say that this is very, very valiant effort put by organizers. They have organized such an informative program. I would like to pay really tribute to them.
Yeah. We are blushing, Dr. Saab.
And thank you very much. Secondly, I have two basic questions. One, representatives of PFFB. I think you are doing good effort, but we are research students, research scholars, and researchers. We have very difficulties to access our research material on international level, especially articles and other things. Would you like to arrange any specific program that we can access these things easily? And secondly, I think the representative of Tawk, I think you are doing a very, very difficult job, but you are doing the work for the person. They are educated, they are affiliated some institution. But in Pakistan, we have a population. They are belonging to remote areas. Some deaf person, they are not educated. Do you have any plan to do something for their betterment? Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you for asking the question. And as far as PFFB is serving the disadvantaged community, we have initiated an ebook library, which is providing ebook scanning service. And it actually it's totally based on the feedback system. If a user requires a book in accessible format, we provide the book in the accessible format for them. And if you like to have some material, you want it to be accessible, so we can make it accessible. And secondly, last year we are in a joint venture with Bookshare. It's an international ebook library for visual impaired, and it has more than 5 lakh visual impaired across Pakistan users. So you can also become a member through our platform, and you can have accessibility on the books on research as well. Thank you.
So to answer your question, we have also, this is our phase 2. Because more than 60% of the people who are uneducated, they're living in rural areas, and it's very sad, but a lot of hearing impaired people are living in rural areas, which is very difficult for us to reach there. So we wanted to start, we did our operation in different rural areas, but the problem there was that the video would hang. There were very weak signals there. So we talked to few developers, we talked to few people, we had different meetings, and we came up with a solution which is known as AI, artificial intelligence. So which is an offline mode for people living in rural areas of Pakistan, or people where there's no accessibility of signals. So we're working on that. That's our phase 2. After we launch DevTalk, after a few months, we're going to launch AI, which is going to replace a sign language interpreter with a machine or any other thing. But what we're going to do is that through artificial intelligence, we will reach out to people who are uneducated, and we also plan on educating them, because this is the easiest way to educate them through offline mode. So that's what we're doing.
We
I hope
return
that
back
answers.
to the audience. Any questions? So if audience doesn't have any question, I have a follow-up question from Telenor. Abdullah, in your presentation, you talked about my question related to Telenor, and you talked about during your presentation the Open Mind Pakistan project, and you talked that it has about 60% success ratio. Can you give us some hard numbers that how many people have been so far through this project? And particularly what I am interested in numbers is that how many of person with disabilities Telenor Pakistan employs?
Right. So in terms of numbers, so we are running the 6th iteration in 2019, the 6th batch. So each batch consists of around 16 to 20 candidates. So this means every year we induct, we bring in 20 people with who are differently abled and who have different impairments. We bring them on board, but I think in terms of volume, so it's considering the problem that we have at hand in Pakistan. So it's just at best it could be a model, a scalable, replicable model that we want other sectors within the private and corporate sectors, within the public sector, because it's tried and tested. We have tried it. We've been doing it for the longest time that anybody has ever done here in Pakistan. There are a lot of learnings, and we firmly believe that there are a lot of opportunities for different sectors to tap into. It's not just about doing the good thing, but it is the right thing to do. It is more than in the segment that we have ignored for so long. It's in our own interest as business, as service providers, as policymakers, as decision makers, because a huge ignored segment of the society, if you mainstream them and make them through different tools and different instruments, make them a productive member of the society in whatever manner possible. So that is in the long run in everybody's own interest. So it's not charity. So we look at this in a very strategic manner. In terms of that you asked that how many have Telenor, how many of the graduates have Telenor employed so far. So we believe in long-term sustainability. So it's another debate. I don't want to open it right now, but it's the quota debate versus providing equal opportunity and the level playing field. We firmly advocate and profess a level playing field and ability and merit. In terms of, like Naveed mentioned, that in terms of being inclusive and accessible, so we believe in universal design. So not to technology, but your processes, your policies, your procedures, and even your attitudes. So once that is done, we let these exceptionally talented people fly on their own. So Ali and Wamek and Abdul Qadir are one of the few inspirational examples. So some of them, they do, based on their performance that they have delivered, they do land jobs, permanent, long-term, better jobs in Telenor, and some of them go out to explore better opportunities. So far, the numbers that we have kept, so out of the 80 or so trainees that have graduated, so 2/3 of them, more than 50 of them, are on permanent jobs with good reputable organizations, and more importantly, little jobs to go around. Engaged in startups, they're doing they're doing different kind of activities to generate livelihood, being entrepreneurs. So yeah, so I think that's it.
Abdullah, thank you very much for your very elaborative answer. What I am interested in is, and for the audience, I would like to talk about that my first ever job was with Telenor Pakistan, though it was internship, and it was 3 months internship, but it was with Telenor Pakistan. So I am aware of the kind of the system and the corporate kind of system that is in process. It was like 11 years back in 2008. So Telenor has come a very long way. But my question, again, I have found half answer, that you have about 80 graduates and you have about 15 to 20 members. Yes, there is a big debate, quota system versus equal opportunity. And my follow-up question, if you had answered and informed me about the numbers, I would have asked that how and what kind of assistive technology and aids do you provide to your employees? So, and if you allow me, I would like to ask that, and before I ask this question, I would like to caution that we can take remote questions. So our remote participants, if they have a question in their mind, they can either type, and one of us, Bashir, is there, he can read, or if they are audible, they can ask the question directly. So you can ask the questions. So what sort of assistive aids and technologies do you provide when you run this Open Mind Pakistan project to persons with disabilities?
Yes. So I think the tools are already out there. So the video conferencing facility, we have developed over time. We have developed not just for people with disabilities, but for everybody happening to have a disadvantage. So there's this go beyond model. So it doesn't matter, because we provide digital services. So we are riding we are riding on a revolution right here, and we, being the service providers, so we are the strongest proponents of using and leveraging that. So the go beyond model is that it doesn't matter. You could be in Bahamas, you could be in Fiji like Naveed, or he's always trotting around the globe. Regardless of that, as long as you're connected, you could be in the comforts of your home or out there in the field. As long as you're connected and accessible, you're on job. So there are no fixed working hours to that. So this is a model that we have introduced, and along with the females and women, so people with disabilities have greatly benefited from it. Other than that, it's not just a corporate or headquarters specific program. So we have gone out to regions. So we have cut down on barriers like traveling all the way to Islamabad and relocating to Islamabad. So if they happen to have an internet connection, a reliable internet connection, they are as eligible as me appearing for a physical interview, and they're placed regionally then accordingly. So now we are spreading it to regions wherever we are present. In terms of numbers that you're so eager to know, so at any given point in time, we have more than 30 people with disabilities, whether as apprentices, as interns, or as full-time employees that are part of our organization at any given point in time. And it's a consistent stream. So what we are seeing over the past 7-8 years is that specific interventions, the in-streams from those interventions are reducing. And from the mainstream, so mainstream recruitment, mainstream HR, they are bringing in, they have developed their capacity and their awareness levels to the extent they are bringing in more and more candidates without creating any exceptions. And that is the long-term success, we believe, of our program, that eventually it will phase out. It's a very strange thing to say, but our objective is that eventually we don't need such specific surgical interventions to ensure accessibility. So that is our objective.
Shabbir, with your permission, because you got half answer, because it's actually difficult to answer, incomplete. With your permission, I want to share my worries with the audience here. When you talk about level playing fields, when we have person with disabilities, for 30 seconds, please, kindly. So we are having the same kind of scenarios, same kind of questions, concerns in incubation centers. Ashima would second me. When you talk about funding, the general students are questioning us that how you'll be able to develop a level playing field there. And again, I think in upcoming Corp, they are also considering transgender community there, which is a very appreciable thing. One thing I want to appreciate for Telenor is that they are not getting 500 billion budget for NIC, and they are doing this out of their own pocket. This is the sense we need to develop, and this is the sense we need to acknowledge. Again, talking about going ahead, after working with corporate sector and government departments, practically talking apology with the foreign panelists here, अब तो ये जो government department अच्छा लगना शुरू हो गया है, और जिस तरह काम कर रहे हैं वो भी अच्छा लगना शुरू हो गया है. जो मसाइल कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर के सामने आ रहे हैं, जो जितना काम कर रहे हैं ना, उसको उसी सिनेरियो में अप्रिशिएट करना मेरे ख्याल में हमारे लिए बहुत जरूरी है, अगर हम आगे जाना चाहते हैं. ये काम नहीं होगा. मैं जिसके साथ बैठता हूँ कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर से, गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर से बात करने की कोशिश करता हूँ, वो यही प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है. जो जिस सिनेरियो में जिस स्ट्रेंथ में काम कर रहे हैं, उसको सपोर्टिव होना चाहिए, हम नहीं. One point also I wanted to add for the foreign our guest from Sri Lanka. She asked about the program of Shima, the startup. So we are running also a lot of startups in Islamabad, Karachi, Lahore, Peshawar. So in your next visit, and I would also ask Naveed to arrange a visit for you, so you can see what initiatives are being done here. And not the collaboration should not be in a single initiative. There are a number of initiatives, and we can learn from the Sri Lanka. We can learn from the Nepal case studies. We have Fahd here from Jordan, and he's always very responsive, and we are learning what is happening around the globe. Again, this is the one thing which I shared during a webinar in ISOC.
Thank you, Raza Saab. I'm sorry to cut you short.
Sorry for taking the time slot. My apologies.
I really apologize. It was really interesting listening to you, but I have to listen. I have to get to the moderate remote side. And Bashir, do we have questions? I suppose audience has. So first audience, and then first the remote question, Bashir, and then the last question from the audience. No remote question? No.
No, I have a question.
And then I will wrap up.
I have a question. I am Deputy Director Iftikhar Bhatt from Ministry of Defense. First of all, I will appreciate Telenor. They are doing a wonderful job. And then I have a suggestion. The app DevTalk, I think its name is DevTalk. DevTalk. I think Telenor should adopt this app, and they could increase its outreach. I think you should work together to make this app accessible all over the country. I think you people should work together. I suggest, yes.
Thank you very much for the suggestion. Duly noted.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. And I see, and I know that there would be a lot of questions if I invite, but I am responsible to conduct this session. So as a moderator, I don't want to be blamed for your lines to be getting cold. So it's very hard thing to come in between a person and his or her lunch. I would like to wrap up this session. Thank you with thanking the my panelists, Naveed, Abdullah Saab, who has left, Ali, Raza Saab, Abdullah, Shima. Thank you everyone and the presenters, Habiba and Rabail. Thank you very much for your talks, for your inputs. And the one lesson that we can draw from this discussion and this session is that there is no simple and single fix, and there is no silver bullet that we can bite and we can solve the accessibility issue with the jiffy. We all together will have to work for a prosperous, digitally accessible future. With this thought, I leave you here, and in the next session, Vikas will be here with the regional case studies, and he will moderate this. Thank you very much and enjoy a nice night.
Thank you, Shabbir. Can we have a group photo of this panel before we leave?